Okay, so let's talk about classes. We're going to be learning about classes. If people are going to be coming in, oops, why can't I type here? There we go. Okay, classes. So using Python classes. So let's talk about them by writing them out first. I'll just write out what a class is, and then we'll go into some examples on the whiteboard later. Um, but we can talk about a class by just writing class dog. So this class here is, let's see why I'm getting that. 1 second. Okay, so we have a class dog and I press enter. And now we have here in this class dog, we can declare legs. So the legs is how many legs the dog has, which in this case, we're going to say 4 legs. So at this is a very simple class. It's the class of a dog. And what a class is a sort of like a blueprint for what the what this class is going to produce. The object that this class is going to make is going to be a dog. But the class is a blueprint. Imagine if someone was making a dog and you'd want to know how many legs the dog has, and so on. So in this simple example, what we're doing here is we're just saying that the dog has 4 legs. Okay? And then in order to create a new dog from this class, because this is just a class, this is just a blueprint, we have to use that blueprint um, to create an object. And the object is going to be a dog object. So in order to create a new dog object, we're going to have to create a name. So the name we're going to give it is, we could choose any name. We'll call it Bobby. And Bobby equals to dog, open and close parenthesis. So this is the simplest way to create a class. We're saying that the class dog, it has 4 legs, and then we create Bobby um, from this dog class. Okay. Um, Class names are capitalized. That's how you know that it's a class. And here we've created a class named dog and stored the information that dogs have 4 legs inside of the class. Um, on this line, we create an object of the class dog named Bobby. We can now print out how many legs Bobby has using something called Bobby dot legs. So when we put a dot after the word Bobby, and then I say that I want to print that information, what that dot means is that I'm going into the Bobby class, and I'm going into the blueprint of that class and getting some information about that class. And that is declared when the class was first created. So yeah, that's what that means. So if I print this out, what I'm going to get is the number 4 printed out on my screen. And you can see that it works. So when I run this code, I get 4 printed out because I'm getting 4 legs. Okay, so let's go take a look at that in our sketchpad. Um, and we'll ignore this cool drawing that I have here because we're going to be talking about this in a bit. But let's take a look at this class here. So I've got 4 legs. I've got a dog with 4 legs. And then I'm saying print the dog and how many legs it has. So when a dog is first created, um, you know, here is my dog. When a dog is first created, it is created based on a checklist. And Python realizes, it looks, it says, we go on line by line, we go into this one, line, what we'll call line 1 here. Line 1, we tell Python to create a variable called Bobby. No problem. Python says, here is your little variable. It's a box. And what we want to do is we want to put the dog inside of this variable inside of this box. And Python says, well, I don't know what a dog is, but I'm going to find out. So it goes into its memory and it finds this class, dog. And remember what we said, a class is sort of like a sheet, a blueprint, and it'll help Python create our object. So what we want to do is create Bobby from this dog class. So Python looks at the class and says, all right, I'll give you Bobby. Bobby's a dog and it has 4 legs. So then we get dog over here. From then on, our line 2, we say over here to Python to print the number of legs Bobby has. And when we do that, we use dot. So every time you see Bobby dot, that dot means I want some information about Bobby. I need some information and I need you to go look it up from the blueprint that you use to build Bobby. And what I want is the word I'm going to write after the dot, which is legs. So Python is going to go into the blueprint and look at legs and give me that number 4. And that's why when we run this code, we get printed 4. Okay? So I'm going to share this screen so you can see it. Okay, so let's get back here. So with this class now, we can create some objects. We've already created one, Bobby. What we can do is create another dog, this time named Scruffy, printing out how many different legs Scruffy has also returns the number 4. So we're going to create another dog called Scruffy. And printing out the number of dogs, the number of legs Scruffy has. So this will also print 4. So we're going to get 4, 4. Okay? So Bobby has 4 legs and Scruffy has 4 legs. Both Scruffy and Bobby are dogs, and therefore they have the same 4 legs because that is how we've defined a dog. Okay? So let's break this down again. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go ahead and just create a new blueprint. So imagine we have this blueprint over here, okay? And we've got a dog. And this piece of paper, you could think of this piece of paper here, this blueprint, as how to make a dog. Legs 1, okay? Kind of shows Python how to make a dog. And Python comes along, and what we do is we write some code, right? So we have this code written down here, okay? So I'm going to bring it in here, and we got this code over here. So how does Python look at this code, and what does Python see? So the first thing Python says is we want to create a new variable called Bobby. So it's going to have to go ahead and create that bucket that we can store a variable in. And it's going to say that Bobby is a dog. And so Python is going to look for the class that has the word dog in it, and it's going to bring back that class. And when it's time, and it's going to put it in here. So we have the dog here. And we'll know that this dog is Bobby because that's the name we've given it. So according to Python, it knows about a dog named Bobby. And it also knows that when we want to print Bobby and the number of legs, it knows that here I've actually written 1, but it should be 4 because dogs have 4 legs. So every time we write this, Python will write the number 4, just getting it from here. Okay? And then it'll do it again. Python will create another box, put another dog in there, and this time the dog's name will be called Scruffy. Okay? So here is that happening. So we've got Scruffy and we've got Bobby. And Python knows that when I print the number of legs Scruffy has, it's also 4 because it's the same class. So what we're trying to say here is that a single class can have multiple objects. So the way that this works, second, we have a blueprint for a dog. And that blueprint can be used to create many different dogs of different names, like maybe Max or Ezra or Timmy, but they all, according to Python, come from the same class. Okay, so that is how we do that. How we have multiple dogs, multiple objects coming from the same class. So now there's a special function that we want to talk about that is called init. And it looks like this. I'll write it first and then we'll talk about it. So the special function goes like this: init underscore underscore surround it, and it takes self and then a couple of other things. It takes the other blueprint items that a class can be, that this dog can have, the properties. So for example, what are the things that a dog can have? They can have a name and an age. So therefore, we have an init function that has the name and the age. Then we have another special thing that we write is we say self dot followed by the different things that a dog has. So self dot name is equals to name and self dot age equals to age. This might seem a little bit confusing. What are we doing with this self? For now, you don't have to worry too much about self. Just know that every time we use or hear the word self, we're just talking about the class. So we're talking about this dog class here. This is also referred to as self whenever I'm talking about it in the first person. Okay, so over here, I've got an init with self.name and self.age. So the init function is immediately called when an object is created, and we must define init inside of the class to determine how the class will be constructed. So you could think about the init function. Let's take a look at it inside of my sketchpad here. You could think of this init function as what the maker of this class, which is Python, will have to do. So every time Python looks at this class, it's going to look at the init function as to determine what needs to be created, what values, what needs to be created, and how the class will be constructed, and we're going to use the init to assign values to object properties when the object is created. So when Python comes across this class and it knows that it's a class for a dog, what it's going to do is it's going to look for this this init function. First of all, it's going to look for a function called init, and that's going to tell it that all the things that a dog has. So it knows that a dog has a name and an age. So that next time Python comes across a class for a dog, it won't get confused every time someone says Timmy dot age. Okay, it's not going to get confused because it knows that age is a property of a dog. It's what a dog can, it's the different ways that a dog can be. It can be a certain amount of ages old, so a certain amount of years old. So that's what this age is. So because we know all that, you can think of this init function as a sort of a description, a blueprint within a blueprint of explaining how a class is. Okay, so that's pretty much all we need to know for now for what an init is. We just know that we're going to use init to assign values to object properties when the object is created. So here we've defined an init function with the parameters self, name, and age. Self is a special parameter. It refers to an instance of the object. For example, when Bobby is created, self refers to Bobby. When Timmy is created, self refers to Timmy. So now we can create a new dog, Bobby, with the name Bobby, and it has an age 12. And we can print out how many legs Bobby has, but we can also print out her name. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go back to our class, and when I hover over, you can see I have a red squiggly line under my dog because it's saying that I created a dog, but I didn't give it a name and an age. And when I created this dog, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a new dog. So I'm going to create a new dog, and the way that I do that is I say Bobby. Let me go over here. Bobby equals to dog, like that. Okay, that's how I created it. But remember, Python goes and says, okay, well, a dog comes from this class, and this class should have a name and an age for the dog. But you haven't given me any. This is where I would put all that stuff. So instead, what I have to do is move this bracket to the side and give Python what it wants. It wants a name and an age. So why don't we go ahead and give it that? So I put it in quotes. I say the name is Bobby, capital, and the age is 12. Okay, so that is how I create a new dog with Bobby. And now this is the proper way. So when I go back here and I have this dog, what I'm going to do is open some quotes. I could do double or single, Bobby, and then the age, which is going to be 12. Now the squiggly lines go away. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a dog called Scruffy. So the name is Scruffy. And the age is 7. Okay, so Bobby and Scruffy. And because they're two different dogs, we can be a little bit more informative about what we're printing out here. So over here, we're printing out the number of legs it has. But what we can do now is maybe uh, put some quotes. And you can string some uh, print statements together. So we can put quotes here. We could say, for example, we can print more than one thing. So I can print Bobby's name. To print Bobby's name, remember we have to use Bobby dot and then name. So we're going to say Bobby dot name. Okay, and now let's see if this works. What we're going to do is put a plus sign here. And then I'm going to say here, Bobby name plus has and another plus. So what I'm going to do is try to combine all of these uh, strings together. And right now it can't do that because Bobby.legs is a number and the name is a string. But let's not worry about that. Let's just for now print out Bobby name. So we're going to print out the words hello world, my name is, and then I'll put a plus. So we're going to combine hello world, my name is, and then the name from Bobby. And then we'll see that it says hello world, my name is Bobby. We're going to do the same thing with Scruffy here. So we're going to replace the print statement with hello world, my name is, and then Scruffy dot name. Okay, run. So there it is. Hello world, my name is Bobby, and hello world, my name is Scruffy. So that's how we use classes. So we can create new dogs and create different ages for them. So now let's see their ages. So we could say the same thing. At the bottom, what I'm going to do is print the age. So I can print it another way. I can say print um, I my age. I can say my age is, and then comma, and then I could print um, Bobby dot age. Okay, so my age is Bobby dot age, and I'll do the same thing with Scruffy. Print my age is Bobby dot Scruffy dot age. So let's go ahead and run this. So here, hello world, my name is Bobby, my age is 12. Hello world, my name is Scruffy, my age is 7. So how is this working? Well, the way that it's working is every time Python creates a new object, every time Python comes across the magic word dog, it knows to look for, because it starts with a capital letter, it knows to look for a class. And a class is like a blueprint, okay? And it knows that a dog will have a name and an age. And so every time Python comes across a dog and knows that maybe we've decided that Bobby is a dog, new dog, and we've decided how old he is and what the name is, we've given that over here. The next time we use Bobby as a name and we can get all of this information from the blueprint, we can get it when we say dot age or dot name. We can get what we defined here, and there's a direct link to it. So that's how we use these classes. So we're about half an hour through. Let's take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back and learn a little bit more and review what we talked about here today. And there's a lot more to learn about classes, so yeah, we'll come back in a bit, and then we'll go more into it.